my spooky crew, and thanks for coming back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Alex, and thanks for coming to my spooky corner of the internet. Lots of exciting things happening with the spooky stuff. So my book, One Bed Over, A Hospital Haunting, is coming out in just a few weeks, maybe a week, depending on when this video is out. Be sure to go to my website at alexmatsuo.com to get more information about that, or search my name on Amazon. Also, my Patreon is hot, it is active, and I have a lot of really cool people in the community. If you want to see outtakes from my videos, so basically everything that doesn't make it to YouTube, for just $3 a month, you can see the outtakes, you can see some notes from my research, what books I'm working on, haunted locations I'm visiting, and you can go to patreon.com/the spooky stuff to get on board with that. All right, enough advertising and talking about me. Let's talk about the Greenbrier Ghost. Not too long ago, I put out a blog and a video about paranormal court cases. And my friend Laura brought up this case to me, and it was like, okay, duh, why didn't I include this in the first place? But this case actually warrants its very own video because it's so crazy. Why is this so crazy? Well, it's the only case where a testimony from a ghost put away a murderer. Yeah, crazy, right? In a world of skeptics and needing proof and needing all the evidence to prove the existence of ghosts, there was a court case where apparently a ghost was able to put away the criminal. We're going to talk about it right now. And before we get started, be sure to click on that subscribe button, give this video a like, and be sure to click on that notification bell, because YouTube is weird. If you don't click on that bell and you subscribe, you may never hear from me again. So this is your way of finding out when I upload a new video. And of course, if you want more information about ghost stories, ghost hunting tips, books, resources, then head on over to my website at thespookystuff.com. All right, let's get started. So if you visit the town of Greenbrier, West Virginia, you may see a rather unique historical marker. That marker has the title, The Greenbrier Ghost, at the top. And verbatim, the last sentence of this marker says, only known case in which testimony from ghosts helped convict a murderer, like I mentioned in the beginning. So immediately, that alone, I'm fascinated, I'm intrigued. You have my interest. So the Greenbrier Ghost is the name that was given to the ghost of Zona Hester Shue. Zona married a blacksmith, and depending on what source you look at, his name was either Edward, Erasmus, or Trout. And her mother, Zona's mother, Mary Jean Hester, did not like him. She did not like him at all. And in fact, Zona and Trout, I'm going to call him Trout, Zona and Trout eloped. And just 3 months later, on January 23rd, 1897, Zona was found unalived. She was found at the bottom of the stairs by a local boy. What's weird is that local boy was sent by Trout to basically check on Zona to see if, she needed Trout to bring anything home or to have the local boy do some chores for her. It's kind of weird. The boy sees Zona unalive at the bottom of the stairs. He goes home, tells his mom, goes to talk to Trout, and Trout calls for Dr. Knapp, who is the local doctor in charge of treating people, but also he's the coroner. By the time Dr. Knapp gets there, Trout has Zona in his arms, with her head in his arms specifically, and by the time that Dr. Knapp had arrived, he had already bathed and dressed Zona. I guess Dr. Knapp wanted to resuscitate her, but either he tried and it didn't work, or Trout wouldn't let Dr. Knapp actually touch the body. Not suspicious at all. And the other thing that was weird was Trout insisted that Dr. Knapp not examine the body. Don't touch the body, don't examine it, I'll dress her, I'll take care of her, I got it. So since Dr. Knapp was not able to examine Zona or resuscitate her or anything like that, he determined that the cause of death was from natural causes. In some sources, childbirth was the result. In another source I found, it was from her monthly cycle that she died. What? And on Drunk History, I think they called it everlasting faint. The other thing that was weird was Trout made sure that Zona was wearing a high collared blouse, and also he had wrapped a veil around her neck to support her head, and witnesses who had seen the body report that apparently Zona's head was really loose, meaning it needed to be held up and supported. So I think that alone, the community was also really suspicious about how Zona died. Zona died on January 23rd. She was buried on January 24th. So literally no time was wasted. So Zona's mother comes back into the picture. Her mother, Mary Jean Hester, claimed that Zona's ghost approached her. Zona's ghost came to her mother's bedside, and apparently her head turned 360 degrees, indicating that she had a broken neck. So Zona's ghost told Mary Jean Hester how it was done, and she also said that it was her husband that unalived her. So on the first night of the visitation, Mary Jean Hester said that Zona's ghost said that Trout was mad at her for not having meat ready for dinner, or for not including meat on the dinner menu. And then on the second night, Zona's ghost said that Trout had squeezed off the top joint of her neck. So by this point, Mary Hester was sure that Trout had unalived her daughter, and she went to the local prosecutor's office to make her case. The local prosecutor is listening to Mary Hester, Zona's mother, talk about these ghostly visitations and the ghost testimony. And I don't know if it was because the prosecutor believed her or that, I don't know. I think there was enough presented that made him have enough doubt to want to reopen the case and question some people. I mean, not to mention, again, by this time, the community was pretty sure that Zona didn't unalive from natural causes. The prosecutor goes to Dr. Knapp, the doctor that had arrived when Zona was no longer with us and wanted to resuscitate her, wanted to examine her, but couldn't do it. And Dr. Knapp told the prosecutor that he wasn't able to do a thorough examination of Zona's body because of Trout. This was enough to get Zona's body exhumed and have an autopsy performed. So on February 22nd, 1897, almost a month since Zona was gone, her body was exhumed and an autopsy was done. And the autopsy was done in the single-room schoolhouse, and apparently it took about 3 hours to do. What did they discover? They described it as her neck was broken and her windpipe was mashed. Mashed. That's a weird word to use with that. And also they had found fingerprint marks on her neck as well, meaning she was choked. How in the world did they determine childbirth or monthly courses as the cause of her demise? You could tell that the doctor was a man, and clearly did not understand female anatomy. So Mr. Shue, Trout, Edward, Erasmus, whatever his name was, he was arrested and charged with Zona's murder. And while he was in jail, it was discovered that he was married not once, but twice before. His first wife divorced him due to great cruelty, as well as abandoning her and her child. Then the second wife passed from mysterious circumstances less than a year after they were married. Okay, maybe it's not that mysterious. So Trout claims to have accidentally dropped a brick on the second wife's head while he was repairing the roof. Oh, she just walked into my knife. And Zona was his third wife, and the weird thing was Trout openly admitted and bragged that he wanted to have 7 wives. Which is weird. Why 7? Also, this was kind of funny. Trout had served time before behind bars because he stole a horse. So Trout had a criminal record. Now the trial begins, and Zona's mom, Mary Jean Hester, is the star witness. What I find really interesting is that the prosecutor avoids talking about Zona's ghost with Mary Jean Hester. He doesn't want to talk about the ghostly visitations at all. But of course, the defense grills Mary about the ghostly visitations because he's trying to discredit her. This ends up completely backfiring, though. Mary doesn't back down from her story, and she is able to convince everyone in that room that Zona's ghost had visited her. And the judge had a really hard time telling the jury to disregard the ghost stories. In fact, it got to the point where the judge allowed the ghost testimony. The jury deliberated for less than an hour, and they came back with a guilty verdict for Trout. Trout was found guilty, and he was sentenced to life in prison. What's really interesting is that he was sent to none other than Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. But he didn't even last 3 years because in 1900, he passed from the flu epidemic, and his family didn't want to claim his body, so he was buried in an unmarked grave on the property. Another thing that is kind of fascinating is that it's insisted that the Greenbrier Ghost testimony had no impact on the sentencing or the verdict. Sure. Another fun fact is the courthouse where the trial took place is still standing. So what do you think of this story? Let me know in the comments. And before you go, don't forget to click on that subscribe button, give this video a like, check out my website, check out my upcoming book, and feel free to share this video with your friends and family who also enjoy the spooky stuff. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next round.